My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But it is such a nice feeling when you've got a franchise that you love and you play the final chapter and you realize they completely knocked it out of the park. This is the perfect way to end these characters' story and to end this franchise. Every time I'm just overwhelmed with emotion by the end of this, and it's just so incredibly well done. It makes me so very happy. So let's begin talking about the cast, and Nolan North continues to do a fantastic job as Nathan Drake. He continues to be a smart, tough, badass, funny guy, but he has a bit more material to work with in this game, and they peel back the layers of the character where we see just how lost and how broken this guy can be, and how he falls short plenty of times, and he just brings such humanity to this character that even when you're pissed off at him, even when he's doing the wrong thing, there's still some level of humanity on display. So just amazing work. Emily Rose also brings it to the next level as Elena Fisher. She just excels in so many areas where she needed to. So many moments have weight because she just knocks it out of the park. This is a fantastic performance, and she adds so much soulfulness to this game, and yeah, her best performance as well. We've got the addition of Troy Baker as Samuel Drake, and I thought he did a real great job. He kind of reminds you of Nathan, but in the good ways and the bad ways. And I'll talk more in depth about his character later, but I feel like he did everything he needed to perfectly. Richard McGonagall as Victor Sullivan, once again, is fantastic, just filled with personality, and I really like how he respects and cares for Nathan and how he disapproves of him so much during this game. It's just a nice little touch. Then we've got Warren Cole as Rave, who I'll speak more in depth in later, but he did a real great job. I think this might actually be the best written villain of the entire franchise, and I was really impressed. We've also got Laura Bailey as Nadine, who is just a tough badass. She brings enough personality to this character, and she manages to stand out. And then you've also got someone like Brandon Scott, who plays Jameson, who's just in this game in like two, three scenes, and he still leaves an impression. Just a very charismatic, likable character. Caitlin Dever, who's one of my favorite working actresses, does a real great job as Cassie. And you've also got Chase Austin and Britton Darton, who play young Nate and Sam, who also do a great job. So the entire cast is just fantastic. They're given the most material here, but they're able to pull it off. So really great job. And I love how this game begins with three different openings. You've got the one with Sam and Nate on the boat during the storm. You've got the one with Nate at the boarding school orphanage as he escapes and Sam and him start to head towards the one lady's place. And then you've got the entire section in the prison. And then you got the opening titles. So, like, that's like an hour to 2 hours worth of gameplay leading up to that. So because of that, the game feels bigger right at the start, and this is much longer than the other three games, and I love the scope of it. It really does deliver in that regard. And I guess before I talk about specific plot beats, I'll just talk about what I get from this game thematically. And I think this is a story about obsession, self destruction, the importance of letting go, finding balance in life, finding fulfillment in life, and marriage and the importance of the people in your life. And I think it's all so interwoven into the story so incredibly well. This game is written and directed Neil Druckmann, who does a masterful job, I may add. And he also wrote and directed my favorite stories ever in Last of Us 1 and 2. And it's interesting to note that I feel like they deal with lots of the same ideas. So I really love that aspect of the game. And here we've got Nathan, who has a job, he lives with his wife, and it's nice that they're still together at the beginning of this game, unlike the last two. And he's gotten comfortable in the mundaneness of everyday life. So you can just tell he misses the adventures. And he won't bring this up to Elena because then he'll feel guilty and he feels like he can't. Not because of anything she has said, but because of the expectations he has placed on her. And he finds an opportunity to go on an adventure, and he justifies it in his head, and he lies to his wife. And to him, it's just a little white lie because he's protecting his brother. She'll be fine with it. Like, she doesn't need to know. He's just trying to justify his shitty behavior throughout the entire first half of the game. And maybe Elena would have been okay with it, maybe she wouldn't have been, but as a husband, he has to have those discussions. And he just has this, what's the word? This certain perception he's placed upon her, which is just disingenuous. So I think there's a lot of depth there. I do like how Sully does not approve of Nathan lying to Elena. But you're just pissed off at him because it's just so shitty, and you can tell that she's catching on, and, well, eventually she does find out, and that moment has weight. I love how Elena plays with her ring in that moment. It makes the moment feel real, and it's just devastating to watch. Like, especially the fact that Nathan continues to go after this treasure. And then I love how the last bit of the game, the last 15% is just Nathan and Elena working things out, having those discussions, being honest with each other and communicating. And it just feels so human, it feels so real, and it just feels like these characters have been brought to life in a way they haven't been up until this point. Like, the other three games are pulpy fun adventure games, but there's just so much humanity on display, and I love seeing that. There was a moment where they find a table filled with pirates, and Nathan is just so excited about what would have happened here, and you can tell that she's remembering why she fell in love with him, and he realizes he's talking for a bit too long, and he's just like, I'm sorry. But then that sorry turns into a genuine, I'm sorry. Love it. Just moves my soul. And I like how the game ends with them finding balance, that they're still going to go on adventures, but the safe, legal way. And the epilogue is just perfection. to see that they have a daughter and for them to tell her the stories of the past few games, it's it's just one of the most beautiful ways you could have ended this franchise. In fact, it is the most beautiful way to end this franchise. I just get so overwhelmed with emotions. And then we've got everything with Nate, Sam, and Rave. And Nate got to live the life of an explorer. You know, he got to live his dreams. But Sam didn't get to. He was stuck in a prison for years. And Rave, well, he refused to move on. So Nate moved on, Rave refused to, and Sam couldn't. And that's an interesting dynamic that's really filled with depths for each character. The fact that Sam lied to Nate has weight, and that's how Elena felt when she found out that Nate lied to her. But I didn't see it coming, and I should have, because the story doesn't really make sense, but because you play it, you believe it more. And it's really well done, and even the fact that Sam has been out of prison for years and he hasn't seen him just adds to it. The flashbacks I do really like. They do add some depth to Nate and how he's created his entire identity around the idea of exploring. Like, this is who he is. But it also adds to Samuel's character in the same way, which is really well done. Like in the beginning of the game, Nate was locked inside while Sam was free, but eventually Sam wasn't free and he couldn't move on. He couldn't grow up. I also love the backstory of Henry Avery. It's just so great in how we see that everyone just turned on each other for this treasure and how that gets paralleled with the story being told now. There's plenty of depth. And his descent into madness is so effectively done. Like, there might not be any supernatural angle to this story, but the moment where you're in the caves and you come across all the different body parts is, like, really effective. These are the hands that stole from me. These are the hearts that hardened against me, and these are the mouths that spoke ill of me. Just really well done story, and I like how even at the end of the game, you can kind of see that Nadine and Rafe have become like Avery and Tu. So, great writing there. And the game is just filled with great moments. I love the scene early on in the attic, and it just feels like a love letter to this franchise. The Crash Bandicoot game is a fun sequence. The Mission Impossible area at the auction is just perfection. Like, I love how the earpieces stop working. That scene of Nate falling and then it cuts to Sully and Nadine, it just feels like a movie, and the bidding sequence is just so tense. I loved all of this. Some of my favorite sections of the entire franchise. I like how the villains hack into their phones and that's how they stay ahead of them. That was really smartly done, unlike the third game where it just doesn't make sense. The flashlight dying at the end is a really terrifying sequence. Like, I've been spelunking and it's pitch black underground, so that moment just had me on edge, and the bombs in the cave were a real nice touch. So much great writing on display, and I love the music by Harry Jackman. It still has the adventurous feel that Greg Edmondson brought to this franchise, but there's some really nice softer music that just adds to the emotion. The graphics look amazing. It is a huge improvement. Like, the other three games look great. This is on a whole different level. The way the characters look and act just feels real. The environments are brought to life so perfectly. Like those sections where you're by a waterfall and it's just breathtaking. It made me want to vacation on an island. And there's a few new additions to the gameplay here with sliding, grappling, and this pickaxe type thing. All game changers. This is the best gameplay in the entire franchise, and how you can use them throughout combat is just terrific and exciting and thrilling, and I love it. How you can swing around and shoot people and slide down and shoot people and jump off and then drop down. Like the level layouts are well thought out and it's just so much fun to play. Like the combat is the best. The way you shoot weapons is a little bit different at first, but you do get used to it. The vehicle is a nice addition. You only use it twice, but it's still, no, 3 times, but it's still really fun. The puzzles, I think, are quite great. There's one early on where you have to move these lights on a door. That's quite great. There's one with a ship wheel that stands out. And I think there's a couple of those I'm forgetting about, but overall, well done. And the exploring, once again, with the grappling and the sliding, it's never been better. Like 4 games in, you have to switch it up, and they do it, and it's just terrific. Just incredible stuff here. I also like how you can do stealth in the tall grass. That's a nice new element that allows it to feel fresh. And there's just some incredible sequences. The escape at the auction on the rooftops is just perfection. The Scotland escape is really fun. The moment where you accidentally drive off the cliff is fantastic. The clock tower is a really fun climbing section. The car chase is the standout. It is amazing, just swinging around and just going from vehicle to vehicle. Like, once again, it takes elements we've seen in the other games, but they find a way to make it even better here and to make it feel new. And the grappling hook just is able to do that so well. And I like the final fight. It's just fitting that in a story about pirates, we get a sword fight at the end. So, I love this game. I think it's a masterpiece. I really do. It is my favorite non-Last of Us game of all time. I think it is so much fun. The combat is a huge improvement. The additions here are just a complete game changer. But most importantly to me, the story is just phenomenal. You can tell that they truly care about these characters and the way they add depth to them and the journey they go on is just so human and real and emotional. And you get the big spectacle, the adventure, but you also get the smaller, more personal aspects as well. It's the best of both worlds. It's thematically rich. The villains are great. Sam is a great new addition. I love the backstory with Henry Avery and how that story connects to the story being told now. It's just so well thought out. It's brilliant. It's just everything I could have wanted for the final chapter of Uncharted. So I'm giving Uncharted 4 a Thief's End a 9 out of 10. That epilogue is seriously just so perfect. It's just as good as it gets. But Uncharted 4, have you played it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.